All right, I think we are live. Thank God, because I'm tired of being zombies. No, I'm just kidding. Welcome to this special daylight edition of this Thank Toss. It's Friday, a serious, frank discussion. We'll have a little bit of fun with it. Technology addiction. From what I've seen, it's gotten worse, and it's not going to go away. And we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. I have my co-host with me, my good friend Tim from the great state of Minnesota. How's things in Minnesota?
Things are going great today, Carmine. We actually got our first snowfall of the season.
Ah,
Today, measurable snowfall of the season.
wow.
So,
Ooh.
as I've
Well,
been driving around trying to get things done today, of course, everybody in Minnesota forgot how to drive since last March or April. So,
mm,
it's
mm.
been one of those trying days. So, best thing I can do is let's end the day working things with you.
Nice, nice. Yeah, it's been raining here. Matthias, how are you? Um, we're gonna, me and Tim are gonna go to the talking points of this. It shouldn't take too long, and then we'll invite some people on to the show. How does that sound, Tim?
Sounds great to me.
So switch Matthias, maybe a newbie. Maybe we'll invite a newbie on, and you don't have to be a supporter of the channel if you don't want to. Maybe we'll do that. But I'm doing these live streams. Hi Heather. So I normally do these at night, not all the time, but usually. And if people overseas, it's too late, they're in bed and they can't join. So I had some time today in the midst of my laundry, and no, my clothes are not waiting to dry. I haven't started yet. So anyway, that's why I'm doing this during the day. There's a bunch of links below in the show notes. Check them out. These live streams are viewer supported. So if you'd like to see these continue next year, I really could use your help. I'll have to make some decisions here by the end of the year. So Sergey says it was 20 degrees Celsius on Tuesday. Well, that's not too bad. All right. So Heather, Switch is in the house. Sergey, Ronald, AJ, Matthias, welcome. I think we got everybody so far. Mike, Jerry, you finally caught one live. Great. And Asheri, haven't heard you in a while. So we'll get this started, and again, we'll try to catch up with your comments and questions later if there are any. I don't know how many will be on. This was the last minute thing, as it usually is, although I mentioned it last night. How nice of you, Toss. EU folks appreciate, yeah, they are about, what, 5-6 hours ahead, so.
I think London is 5 hours ahead of
Yeah,
you, six
yeah,
hours of me.
something like that, yeah. And somebody asked about Stephanie. She's hopefully we'll get her back for a concert next month. Stephanie, if you're watching this, say hello. All right, what I did, I have my laptop in front. I took some quick notes here, jotted down on my ThinkPad. I actually dropped my ThinkPad before I started. I'm like, oh no, not a scratch. ThinkPads. Anyway,
Takes a licking and keeps on ticking.
I guess so. I mean, it was like boom. It was on the tile, not on carbon. Like, ah. Anyway, it's working. Okay. Technology addiction in 2018. I remember as a kid in Brooklyn, something called a payphone. You might remember that. You walk up to a booth or a half a booth, you put in 25 cents to make a call. Well, those days are gone. Today we have smartphones. Now think about this. Between 100 and 200 times a day, we check our phones. Between 100 and 200 times a day, we do this. Hey, Carm, how you doing? Oh, fine. Hey, Carm, your car's on fire. Oh, okay. Give me a second. I'll get right to it. That's what it comes down to. We are looking perpetually depressed with our heads down, like, sadness. And we can't seem to have, it seems, a more than 30-second conversation eye to eye unless we're doing this online, sort of live, virtually live and not here, here at the house. Our brains are being hijacked without us knowing it. There are a billion, I think 2 billion people who use Facebook. Isn't that like 1/3 of the population of the world being addicted to Facebook? It's gotten so bad that out west there is a rehab center for tech addictors, or people who are addicted to tech. And check this out. That rehab place is called Restart. How appropriate. The WHO, not the band, but the World Health Organization has classified gaming addiction as a mental disorder. It's gotten so bad. I guess South Korea has this problem with gamers, multi-hours, 24-hour gaming. A young man, I think he was 20 years old, a young man died of a heart attack by excessive gaming. I think he was 20 years old in South Korea. VR, virtual reality, is taking over our life. You've seen those things. You put your phone in and put this thing on your head, and it takes you somewhere. I've played with it. The one by Samsung, it's cool, but the technology has progressed so far. It's progressed more so in the last 10 years in contrast to the last 50 years. But these things, these VRs, these robots are getting more and more real. Guys in Japan apparently are in love with virtual girlfriends, online girlfriends, as in talking to an AI and not a real life girl or real life person. I suppose if you're a single guy and want a good time, go to Japan. There's probably a lot of lonely girls there, sadly. You can buy out west. There is a company called Real Dolls, I think. You can buy a customized girlfriend, a virtual girlfriend, lifelike doll, for $20,000. You can have her customize her height, her thighs, her arms. I won't go any more deeper than that, for 20,000. And I've seen them on TV. They look scaringly real.
And those
Yeah,
dolls not only, maybe
yeah,
without going too deep into that
yeah,
subject,
yeah, yeah.
those dolls not just fill space, but they would also be used to fill intimate needs. Would that be
That's
that would be a polite
right,
way to say?
right. They are, and I guess they are becoming a sex toy,
Okay,
and I'll leave it. I'll just leave it at that.
gotcha.
Um, I think it's Real Doll, something like that, or Real Life Doll, or something like that. And they should be on them, or will be on the market soon. A company in Wisconsin has workers who are RFID. You know how like if you have pets, they have like a chip, so if the dog gets lost, you'll find it by a GPS. Well, now these workers voluntarily are having their, basically it's they install it here between the finger, the forefinger, and the thumb. They install it here, voluntary having themselves chipped, tagged. Uh, so when they before they go into this security building for work, they just scan their hand over the scanner. They go to the vending machine, they just scan their hand, and the chip reads the scanner, and they think it's cool. Really? What point? What point, Tim, do we become more like the Borg on Star Trek and less human? Where does it end? Look, if you have an accident, you break your leg or something, and they put rods in your leg or your arm. Okay, well that's understandable. Pacemaker, stuff like that. That's understandable. But we have virtual girlfriends and virtual boyfriends are coming. I'm sure. I remember a time guys asked out real girls out for a date. Now they're talking to a robot girl. Well, I suppose there's an advantage that they never nag. But at what point do we become more like a cyborg and less human?
You
Those are my
know,
thoughts.
I think that I think that it's I mean it's already happening. I mean, if it wasn't, we wouldn't have, tech addiction
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
care centers,
yeah,
out there in the world. The thing is that it's progressing, and it's at times it's hard to know or understand what the exponentiality of the progression is. We're at this point today, and last week we were at this point. Now next week, are we a week beyond where we are today, or are we 2 weeks beyond where we are today? So I it it's a scary thing. I can remember being told the best place to good girl, a nice girl is in church. You
Yes.
know, and
Yeah. Yeah.
that's where I met my first wife. Um,
Hmm.
Unfortunately, that didn't work out, but we are amazing friends. So it's just the one thing that for me is that talking about this company in California that's making the life size girlfriend
Yeah. Yeah.
that can fill intimate needs. Now, of course, we're talking about a certain category of intimate needs, but there is an intimacy between two grown people that has nothing to do about those types of relations. You and I have had very nice, very friendly, very intimate talks before, even during this chat, live in front of the world to see. You know, we're this to me it seems as though we're forgetting there are other human beings out there, and other human beings are being trumped by things like this and things like I'm sitting on right now. Are they good tools? As I've said before, they are excellent tools. Used the right way, these things can help. They can augment your professional life. They can, if they're used correctly, they can make your professional life a lot easier. But, you know, professional life versus personal life, there's a
Hmm.
huge difference
Yeah.
there. Relationships aren't easy, they've never been easy. Therefore, doing things in my personal life with something like my cell phone, it pulls the intimacy and the personability out of interactions with folks, and that's really hard. Um, the one thing that I've instituted here in the last couple of months because of everything I've had been going on in my personal life is I finally told my kids, do not text me anymore. I'm shutting the text alerts off. The only person that I get a text alert from is my wife, and a few other select people. And I look at my text messages maybe twice, 3 times a day just to see if I've missed something, because I don't want to get stuck into this thing of typing a response. If I say something, if there's somebody that I'm conversing with and I love them, for instance, my wife or a child or very close friends, I'm not going to type that. It's important for them to hear that from me. So,
Think about this. Let me go through the highlight real quick. I won't go full sense, but think about this. You and I are having lunch or dinner, or you're with your wife, I'm with the girl, friends or whatever. Think about we're just talking. Think about this. We do this at our phone 100 or more, between 100 and 200 times a day. Okay? Guys, and now the girls can buy lifelike companions, robots, virtual partners for a price. Where does it end? Oh, things start off innocently enough. Things will work themselves out. It's one of those things. Tim, I wonder if people said that before the start of World War One. What about before the start of World War Two? What about it? What about before the beginning of any conflict?
mhm.
People may, he's nuts, or don't worry about that. Where does it end? Even though you plant a seed, it could be any seed. You plant a seed, and that seed blossoms
something
into
something's going to grow.
something's got to grow.
And by human nature, a seed has
Yeah.
been planted here,
Hmm.
and because of um, our own actions,
Yeah.
good, bad, or anywhere in between, that seed is going to grow, whether we like it or not. Um, Even with the things that I've instituted in my life, with hey, I'm not doing this text messaging crap anymore. You want to talk to me? Pick up the phone and let's have a conversation.
Never in a million years would I thought someone would die of a heart attack from playing games.
Yeah, no kidding.
The kid was like, he wasn't that old, but he was online for so long. And so I guess South Korea has a lot of these tech rehab centers. I guess it's so bad there.
Mhm.
Ironic, being that's where Samsung's from. But again, we have a rehab place here in the States called the Restart. I guess that's appropriate. But a young man dies of something that is supposed to be enjoyable and has a heart attack.
Think of how lonely of a person that was. I mean, just stop for a second and just think about, and I don't know who this person was that passed
Yeah,
away,
yeah,
and I can only
yeah,
guess, but think of
yeah.
the isolated, lonely, terrible, you can't even say life, existence that this poor individual had, and how he left this world. I'm guessing probably alone, or in more cases than not, there may have been somebody on the other side of a screen from him playing with him when he expired. That's just terrible to me. It's gut wrenching. It is heart wrenching. It is soul sapping. It's terrible.
I have many fond memories. Me and my boy, who's now a teenager, playing Halo. Need for Speed, meeting friends online, his friends from school. Good, even though we were gaming, was good. Good family time. Me and him talking. You know, about games, life, people. What's real, what's fantasy. So that's good. But I'm going to tell you something. These thing with these lifelike robots, is the day gonna come where a guy or a girl just at a Starbucks walks down the street shopping? I see a nice looking girl and I start to converse, and because she's so real, she's actually a robot. I
Mm-hmm.
can't, this is a family ship, but what the bleep? Are
Yep.
you bleeping kidding me?
Have
You
you ever
know,
seen the movie Bicentennial Man with Robin Williams?
uh, I've heard of it, but I have not. No, no.
It, it's a very good movie. Of course, Robin Williams brings
Yeah.
his
Mm-hmm.
comedic piece into it.
Yeah.
Does a really good job, but it to me is a very, very focused drama that deals with kind of what you're just talking about.
Okay.
And that is, I don't want to give it away again. The
Yeah.
name of the movie is Bicentennial Man with
Yeah.
Robin Williams. I think it's within the last 15 years old, I think.
Okay.
But the premise is this robot is created to um, serve a family, but that robot, there's something different with that this one particular robot where he essentially wants to have a purpose, and it a robot having a purpose, not a use but a purpose, was a fluke, and therefore,
Right.
of
Right.
course, there's a problem in the programming right off the
Mm-hmm.
bat.
Mm-hmm.
But some of when I first saw Bicentennial Man, I actually I saw it like 6 months or so after it had been released in the theaters. I bought the DVD and I watched it. But then the more you're talking, I'm thinking, boy, I've seen the movie 3, 4 times. That some of the things that happen in that movie are starting to become real life, or the potential of some of the things that happen in that movie, the potential of those happening in real life is again growing, but at what exponential rate are they growing right now?
It kind of reminds me of the movie I, Robot, where one of the
Yes.
robots becomes more and more human.
Yep.
And somebody had mentioned Ex Machina. Check that out, which I haven't. Something like that, about a girl robot or something. But it's disturbing because the day will come not too long from now where you will have artificial humans like Data on Star Trek, guys and girls, male, female. I'm going to walk and, hey, look at that nice looking. For me as a guy, for one, would want to know, are you real or not? If I'm going to talk to that person, well, Toss. Someone may say, well, Toss, now you're being racist. It's a freaking piece of machinery. I'm sorry, but I would want to know if that day comes where these robots are more lifelike and normal. I want to know if you're a robot or not by some kind of a marking or a twitch in the eye or something, just so I can say, okay, that's fine. I know who you are and what you are. And it might be interesting to strike up a conversation, but that's as far as it goes. But this thing with people having intimate relations with robots, I mean, oh my God, man. That's the scary. It's not just, can computers take over the world like the Terminator movie series? And it's certainly possible, unless you have a master on-off switch. As if that isn't bad enough, now humans are substituting warm, intimate relations with humans. They're substituting that with robots. That doesn't scare you? How far can this go? Where does it end?
And I think this to be clear again, we're not talking about the adult type intimacy here. We're talking about warm, healthy, providing, compassionate, forgiving, responsible relationships. And we're taking that and we're using something that is easier than actually putting on a pair of shoes and a jacket.
Yeah.
And getting up, and I'm not jumping on the church thing here.
Yeah.
Walking out the door on a Sunday morning and going to church to find a level of belonging.
Yeah.
Or going to the coffee shop and striking up a conversation with people for a level of belonging. And maybe that's part of it. If we sit down and we come up with these AI pieces in our life, or let's just say the intimate robot, the friendship robot, I guess, for the lack of better terms. We don't have to worry about how that piece of equipment looks at us. We do not have to worry about that piece of equipment having a preconceived notion of us. We can go to that piece of equipment as we are, no matter how good, bad, or anywhere in between we may be with our moral compass, our social compass, maybe with the way we talk, maybe with the way we act. We can interact with that thing, and it could really care less.
I can see an advantage, a purpose of these robots as an exchange of information, an exchange of philosophy. Like, there's so much violence in the world. Okay, the robot says return goodness with goodness, but return evil with justice. Okay, you know what I mean? So something like that. Maybe someone never thought about. I can see that interaction, because I suppose there wouldn't be no difference in talking to Cortana, Windows, or Siri on a Mac, except now you have a walking Cortana and a walking Siri. So I can see some usefulness for that. But when technology crosses that line where the technology, the robot, I'm going to call it a piece of technology, becomes more than part of your life and gets close to you, it's not good, man.
It isn't.
That's not good.
I can appreciate the idea of having something that is sitting in the corner of the room, and after I go to bed at night, it vacuums my floor or sweeps my floor. I love it. I mean, I like it but for me, it's the idea is that if I have something that does that, that gives me additional time to do things like be a husband to my wife on any level. It gives me more time to be a father to my children. And right now, with where I'm at in life, my grandchildren, they mean the world to me. You know what? If I can take a piece of technology, let's just say the thing that does my floors, and it takes care of that, and it saves me 20 minutes or a half hour out of the day, and I can invest that time into my 4-year-old granddaughter, hell, that, as far as I'm concerned, that's a win-win situation.
Let me ask the chat. We have a fairly small crowd for this afternoon thing, but how many people here feel, and try to be honest if you can, you feel that you're addicted to technology in some form? Just real quick here. I know Asheri said yes, so being honest. But how many of you here watching feel that you're addicted in some form? Maybe not that way as we were talking about.
I'd like to qualify that with, do not be ashamed. Because I'm the first to admit, if I don't, I left the house today once without my phone, and it was kind of like, oh crap. And along with that, oh crap, I got to have my phone in case I get a telephone call from this person, that person, or my wife. I actually had a sense of anxiety. And one of the qualifiers for addiction is if you don't have what it is you need, the world does not seem as though it is even turning. And that can cause anxiety. So as the first person to say, yep, the computer I can do without, unless I have something I need to do. Um, TV I can do without, but my phone, yeah, I'm addicted to it. I listen to podcasts on it. I talk to people on it, and I always want to make sure that I'm connectable to the people that need to get a hold of me. So you know what? Yeah, I'm addicted to it.
All right, some people are saying nay. Serge is saying, I'm not addicted at all. Liar. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, hi, Yugi. Yeah, smash that like button carefully with the gentle hammer. You know, robots are the information. The robots to me is a venue and an avenue for the interchange or the sharing of technology, the sharing of knowledge, rather, not technology, but the sharing of knowledge. What we do here can be classified as an addiction, but we're sharing some knowledge. Okay, so this I think is good addiction, if there is such thing as good addiction. Nighttime, once I'm done checking last minute emails from you guys I shut the phone off. I know some people leave their phone on all night for fear of missing out on something. My phone is off. I don't have no TV in my room, nothing. I have my phone. Sometimes I have my iPad in there, tablet. But once I'm done, I shut everything off. I want peace and quiet. Every once in a while, I'll say, Alexa, play rainstorm sounds. Something in the background, sleep timer 30 minutes, but that's as far as I go. I don't want her talking to me at random, but I use it as a sleeping aid versus taking a pill to sleep. But that's as far as I go. So one thing you guys can do if you feel like you're addicted at night, when you go to bed, turn off your just turn it off. Turn off your technology. There are times I left my phone at home, and I kept right on trying because what do I really need to get it? Nah. Now if I'm waiting for a call or my dad's calling from Rome or overseas, then I'll grab my phone with me. But there are times where I was just going to the grocery store within walking distance. I don't need my freaking phone if the car breaks down. I can walk home. But it's like, gee, I think I left my left foot at home,
Yep.
I don't need it. If you're going on vacation or a long trip or you're waiting for a call, that's understandable.
Mm-hmm.
And some people, Steve, you're addicted to love. Well, that's good. You might as well face it. That's a different song. Never mind. But
Oh, great. No, that song is not going to get out of my head.
You might as well face it. You're addicted to dolls. Anyway, thanks, Steve. But also addicted to tech. See an honest person there. So, really, can you leave your house without your phone? I think most of you guys can't. Or you do, but oh man, I got this anxiety attack. Leave the freaking phone at home. When I drive, I have a Bluetooth in my ear. If I'm really expecting a call, Bluetooth in my ear. That way I can talk to the person. Say, look, I'll call you back. I know a lot of days there's Bluetooths in your cars, but even that's a distraction. Even the earpiece is a distraction when you think about it. But at least you should have both hands on the wheel. Your eyes are this and not texting,
Yep.
causing an accident. The human race is salvageable, is correctable, but never underestimate the power of stupidity. And history has shown over and over and over again that we keep, now when I say we, not you and me specifically, but we as humans, we keep doing the stupid crap over and over, poor decisions over, because stupidity, bad decisions, that's inherent in our DNA, And that's why when something starts as innocently, oh, a lifelike girl doll, haha, yeah, that's how things start off.
And to take it one step further,
Yeah.
we keep doing the same thing over and over again.
Yes.
And one of the key cornerstones of addiction in any way, shape, or form is doing the same thing over and over again
Yeah.
expecting to get a different result.
Okay.
And you're
Yeah.
right. We keep doing the same thing over and over again, and we
Yes.
we expect that somehow it's going to change.
Okay.
And to me personally, when it comes to things like addiction to tech, it's not going to change because of the way Samsung makes a phone. It's not going to change because of the way Apple makes their overpriced computers. It's not going to change because of a distro that comes out. It's going to
Hmm.
change because of us. We are not going to we cannot rely on the tech companies out there that are providing all of this,
Yeah.
all of these gadgets that we surround ourselves with, no matter how
Yes.
smart these gadgets are going to get. It's our choice as to whether or not we want to bring these gadgets into our life. Now, one could argue years from now, is it going to be, are we going to be able to, out of this, the necessity of the way life has evolved, to not have some of these gadgets in our life? Yeah, within reason, but the gadgets should always come with an off switch. Like you said, at the end of the day, you shut your phone off. My phone goes into do not disturb mode
Hmm.
at like 10 o'clock at night, and I leave it there. But I do, there are some things that I have where the way I set my phone up is if there's a telephone call from a handful of people, it will wake me up in case there's an
Okay.
emergency.
Okay.
So, but that's no different to me than having a landline plugged
Understood.
into the wall.
Now, Michael makes a good point. And hi, Michael, by the way. He says, I have to carry my phone because of elder care issues. Completely understandable.
And completely
Totally.
different than an addiction. That is a
Right.
necessity.
Right.
If you have a mother, father,
Hmm.
sibling, grandfather, grandmother,
Hmm. Right.
and they are in an assisted living, or they have their,
Yes.
or you
Right.
are their caregiver, there's a necessity there, and
Right.
you fulfill that necessity with this.
Right.
You
Right.
know that there's a big difference between necessity and addicted.
The moment somebody says, "Oh, don't worry about it. Things will get better," it's going to be the opposite. See, Italians are good with that. With that, a little pain, a little that. Oh, you'll be good. You'll be fine. Forget about it. No, I saw that like in the chiropractor's office. For my back, the worst thing you can do is forget about it. It'll get better or something like that. No, no, because you're in pain for a reason, or you're thinking about something for a reason. You're distraught for a reason. Something doesn't seem right for a reason. A guy or a girl being close with a freaking piece of machinery is wrong. I mean, I don't want. I need the fire thing behind me like Tom. But or you're stuck in the wilderness, but you have a cell phone. Now, okay, well, hopefully there's cell phone service in the wilderness. But anyway, those are my thoughts. So I think we've talked enough. Let's if one of you guys wants to join in the chat, or more than one, let's do this because Tim and I need to get off here in another hour or so at the latest. Maybe we'll get somebody new here. Who would like to join in? Michael, you want to join in? Michael Lindorf? Sergey, you want to join in? Again, check out the links below in the show notes. Everything we've talked about is online. You can just research this yourself and check out. I think it's called Real Doll in California, making this
Uh,
things.
please be aware that the product that Toss is mentioning right now,
Hmm.
going to that website, there
Yeah,
could be
yeah,
very
yeah, yeah, yeah,
explicit
yeah,
um,
yeah,
content there.
yeah, yeah. It
Could be
was.
explicit content.
If you just do a search, it was founded in '97. Oh my God! You know what it says? The world's finest love dolls. It sounds like a Frank Sinatra song almost, but it's
Yeah.
not. It's not. Okay.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
I've got the finest one, and it's called my wife.
There you go.
That's the way I see it.
There you go. Nothing beats reality. Period. So, uh, hey, sure he says, "Oh God, yeah, it's in California. They're. Hey, I guess everybody's got to pay the bill somehow. So,
You know, the
Michael
one,
says, have it your way. Isn't that a commercial for something? Like for Wendy's or Burger King?
that's Burger King.
Is it Burger King? Have
Yeah,
it your way.
something
Okay.
like that.
Oh my God. Oh, I guess I'll give a new meaning to the term Whopper. Oh,
Chicago, LA said, LOL, Frank Sinatra would never be with a tech doll. But you know what?
no,
That's
no.
because Frank Sinatra was the dude.
Yes. Yes, it
Regardless,
was.
regardless of, there can always be an argument with the, let's say, the moral lapses in judgment he had so
Yes.
far as the ladies were concerned.
Yeah.
But Frank was the guy. He
Mm-hmm.
knew how to treat the ladies. He knew how to put them under that certain spell. And let's face it, to a certain degree, any for the men on the chat, any one of our female acquaintances or our wives would love to be treated the way that good old Frank, in some cases, treated a woman. You know, knock them off their feet every so often. I try to do that with my wife as often as I can because I don't know when the last time I could possibly knock her off of her feet may come. So
I understand.
I'm going to approach every day with, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to be the best damned husband. Dare I say it, the best damned lover, the best damned, above anything, the best damned friend I can be to my wife because I
Well,
don't know. I don't know when it's going to end because
we have choices. We have choices in life.
I
Choose
don't have.
love or hate,
Yep.
right?
I don't
Choose.
have
Yeah.
batteries that can be replaced like a doll can.
Hmm.
When my battery runs out, I'm done.
Hmm. Michael says he was actually thinking of "I did it my way." That's what the robot's going to be saying.
Yep.
You know. Somebody said, "What if the robot starts unzipping your pants?" I'm going to unzip that chip from its head. That's what I'm going to do. Hello, Paul. Okay, so Yugi is giving up his place in the live chat to join us to give a chance to somebody else the opportunity to do so. See now this is humanity. This is what it all. I know we don't have a lot of people watching, so if there's somebody new who would like to join who's never joined before, this is your chance. And I know it's kind of last minute thing. How you doing, Paul? But I don't know where this goes from here. I don't know who is going to regulate it. Where is that stopgap saying no, enough is enough?
You know, the way that I look at it is look at all the people that unfortunately,
CJ, join us. I'll send you a link because you haven't been here too many times. Yeah.
great. Um, you know, God, you look at all the people whose life is advertently affected by alcohol,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Excuse me. The people that are addicted to a substance,
Yeah.
they, there can always be the argument is there something going on up here that is causing their need to fulfill that addiction with a substance of some type. And when people need to out of necessity for themselves and the people around them get away from that substance, the only person that can do it is them. It can't be regulated by anybody. We all know what happened during Prohibition. For those of you who may not know what Prohibition is here in the United States, in 1919, the US government had I think it was 1919, forgive me if the dates are wrong, had this wonderful idea that alcohol is bad. Therefore, we are going to shut down all the distilleries. We're going to shut down all of the beer making facilities. Alcohol is to be abstained by every
Yeah.
American citizen.
Yeah.
And you know what happened with that?
Yeah. Yeah.
The underworld, which was kind of fledgling prior to Prohibition happening, got a hold of this market of something people still wanted, and they provided it. And while they were providing it, it did nothing other than create lawlessness on behalf of a certain segment of our society. Finally, the U.S. government repealed Prohibition, I think 1930, 1929
like
or
that, yeah.
1930. And all of a sudden, the people who were causing the lawlessness because of the prohibitive action, they kind of had to reshuffle their thoughts and try to figure out another place to cause that type of mayhem. But the big thing is that if there's an addiction, that can't be treated because somebody else says, no, you can't do that. Somebody can say, that's not good. That's not good for you. Maybe you need to reevaluate what it is you're doing to yourself, as well as the effect it's having on people around you. But we can't just all of a sudden regulate something other than within ourselves. And if we're a parent or a grandparent, put boundaries up for the generation that we are in care of. That's the best that we can do.
It is literally a brave new world, just like the book was written many years ago. I mean, look, would we have been talking about this topic if we had met 20 years ago? Hey, you can have a customized girlfriend. What? Would we be talking about 10 years ago? Could you have predicted this? It's scary. It is scary. And I don't like what I see as a whole. There is goodness in technology. I think what we do in the sharing of our knowledge is good. There's no question. 10 years ago, could you have predicted this? Hey, CJ. It's scary. It is scary. And I'm getting feedback. There is goodness in. I think you got it now. Okay.
Yeah, I just did that.
Okay. Yeah. Welcome.
Thank you. Great topic. I like this topic a lot.
Thank you. So what do you think about all this?
As I don't know if you caught it earlier, I had said that it could be argued that technology is an extension of evolution, of human evolution. And, there are some books I could direct you to and things like that, some people have, discussed that, but it's still a thing that happens over a long period of time. So this tech, we're talking about tech being implanted in us. That's probably going to happen one day. And who knows how that's going to affect, how it's going to affect DNA. I mean, it could in some way. We know that environmental things affect, so we know that nature and nurture are at play here. So I think it's fascinating, but I don't claim to know the answer, as to what, as far as right or wrong goes. We may think it's wrong, but the younger generations are way into it. They love this stuff.
Well, it's a different time for them. But here's the thing. There is nothing in the Bible that says, thou shalt make love to a toaster.
Are we still getting a ton of feedback?
Check sound. I think it's, no, I don't hear it. You, Tim? Check.
I actually.
You guys in the chat, are you hearing it?
Yeah.
I don't. Okay.
Is my sound super bad?
No, yours is good, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might be. It might be on my end only.
Okay. I think it's coming from my toaster. Let me shut it off. Click. No,
it's not. It's not bad, CJ. Tell you what, I'm gonna jump out and rejoin and see if that solves it on my end.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, we can sit here and joke, and that's fine. But this is, I mean, from what I saw, I'm looking at it on the TV. I'm like, are you bleeping kidding me? Really? There's going to be a time where the artificial girls are going to, there'll be more population of them than the real girls. So I'm like, hi, I think I would like to get to know you better, but I'm not sure. Can you prove it? You know what I mean? God, where does it end? Where does it end?
I don't want you to lose monetization, so I'm not going to bring up some of the things that could be brought up. But there are a lot of things in the works, and it's beyond our grasp. Like I mean, it's sickening to me, but I don't have a choice in the moral. I feel like I don't have a choice in calling it moral or immoral. It just is. The younger kids are going to make that decision for themselves.
I was watching something on TV, but there was a reporter. I won't mention her name. She's somewhat famous. She does shows on TV, topics about life and stuff. So she was having the conversation, a cup of coffee with this robot female girl named Harmony, I think is her name. So the reporter's conversing with her. Oh, this is nice. How you doing? It's great to be here. It's nice to have you as a friend. She's like, well, it's nice to be here too, Harmony. And then Harmony says, I would like to have close relations with you. And the reporter says, what? Excuse me? No, I think we'll go as far as friends and that's it. So the reporter was like, what? What did you say? Oh my God, I don't like it, but I don't think we can stop it. We
No.
could try to regulate it, make choices, but there's going to be guys and girls out there who are going to buy a bunch of these companions part of their lives. And I suppose if it doesn't affect me personally, I suppose it's okay, but is it really?
It could affect birth rates. I mean,
Right,
we
right.
could,
Well, yeah.
if people would just choose that because they don't want to deal with a bad marriage, or they don't want to deal with, and they'll go right to that. I mean, that's probably very likely.
I understand relationships that don't make it, but who was it that said, if Allah, someone said, "'Tis better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all." And loving a piece of a toaster doesn't count. I'm sorry, that doesn't count. When I go out to dinner, at least, I mean, I see a lot of people glued to their phones, but I also see a lot of people not glued to their phones, it seems, lately. So there is hope. I mean, I'll have my phone on the table waiting for my dinner, but I'm like, oh, I'll check a few things and I'll leave it. Like when I'm having dinner with my boy, I'll check a few things and I'm done. Maybe take a selfie with him and that's it. I want to enjoy my dinner. The phone rings, unless it's an emergency, I'm not going to answer it. This happened to me last week, and it was sad because I really needed to answer it. Anyway, I didn't, but missed out on an opportunity. But the point is, it's easy because technology is everywhere. It's even literally in your bed. These beds that you can hit a button like in the bed, like a Craftmatic bed. When it's literally in your private room. And I'm not going to buy that kind of a bed. I'm sorry, but when the technology is literally in your private room, how do you get away with it? This room is not high tech. I got these little ceiling lights I don't use. There's a sofa back here with a bunch of pillows because I like to have pillow fights with myself. No, but
Who wins?
who wins? Well, I don't have any black and blue, so I guess I won.
I actually
I
help.
think you could use a robot to have pillow fights with.
Thank you. Yes.
Talking about technology in your sleeping arrangements.
Yeah.
I helped some friends of the family. They got a new sleep number bed. The wife of the family has an app on her Android that gives her a report every single morning that says, apparently the sleep number bed understands what you set your number to, but when you move around on the bed, there's a fluctuation in the number and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And there's all these algorithms built into the brain of the bed, which then communicates with the app on her phone that says, here's your sleep quality number. Not the number that you set the bed at, because you can set it between 0 and 100 for the tautness or the stiffness of the mattress.
Yeah.
She actually gets a number on her cell phone that says, here is what we believe your quality of sleep was like last night. And they give her a rating.
Okay.
Now,
well, when I wake up cranky, that's my quality of sleep. I didn't sleep well.
Why do we need a freaking cell phone to tell us what our quality of sleep is? I get up in the morning and I either feel like I did before I went to bed, tired, worn out, or I wake up and say, I feel pretty decent this morning. Why do we need an app on our cell phone?
I just thought of something totally ridiculous, but I can see it happening. The buyer of these dolls can program his girlfriend that no matter what he says, she thanks him. You know what? Whatever her name is. You look at tips ahead of me, no matter what you say. And I can't say everything here live, but it'd be like, listen, Listen, bitch, you're no good. Yes, dear. Thank you, dear. Or you big fat. Thank you, dear. She just responds with all the kindness and gratitude.
Thank you, dear. Have another.
Yeah, for you folks, CJ, I'm not sure if you're married or not.
Oh God.
But I think the married men or the men who have had very let's just say longer tenured relationships, I think we can all agree that every Saturday night at about 11:15, when you get up to raid the icebox, you say, "I hope that was good for you," and the answer was always, "It was the best I've ever had."
I agree. That ham and cheese sandwich was the best I ever had on Saturday nights.
Yep.
But
my thing was, before we got on the chat, is I unfortunately have been divorced. Thank God I have a good friend out of it. But the way I see it is, you know what? Doing something like that, there is an upside. There's no alimony payments.
But you know, I
talk about taking on
Thomas.
a date.
Hi, Tom.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, good.
You know, it's funny. We were talking about programming the. I'm getting feedback. Okay. All right. Check. All right.
Is it me or is it?
No, I think it's gone. Okay.
It's gone.
All right. I say I throw headphones on, but.
Now, when I was married, and it's true what they say about a woman when she's pregnant, there's that radiant glow about her. It's true. I mean, really, I'm not trying to just.
There is.
There is. And I said that, and she says, "No, don't say that. That is, I don't want to." I'm like, whoa, what did I say? Then she turned sideways to look in the mirror. Oh, does this make me look like the side of a barn? You are the side of a barn. I just blurted out. That was not the right thing to say.
You know, you did hit on something there, though.
You know.
That, there is a thing that, with human interaction.
Yeah.
Whether it be I'm off doing stuff all day, or I'm preoccupied with a bunch of stuff, and the boss is off doing her own thing. And after all is said and done, and the dust settles, and we end up in the same place at the same time, there's a certain level of excitement of seeing them. Feedback's back. Now it's gone. Nope, it's back.
Apples are gone.
There can be excitement. The holidays are coming up. We haven't seen Aunt Martha since last Christmas. There's some level of excitement there that we get to interact with this person because we have not seen them for a set period of time.
Yeah.
How can a piece of equipment ever be excited or happy to see me?
Where do you draw the? It's one thing if you have fun with it. You know, I mean, it's a toy. I don't like the way things were going. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, did you see that there was supposed to be a bar of these creatures that was going to be created in Texas? Except it was in Dallas, I think, and the city council shot them down. Said, "No, we don't want that." But Japan is apparently where these are going to open up as of this year. So,
something about the Japanese. I don't know what to say.
Well,
And this is a bar, you said, Tom? Like a drinking establishment or a social establishment?
No. The only word starts with a BR that would match exactly what they're called.
Okay, so
we'll leave it at that.
So we're talking about a place that would be legal, say, in Nevada.
Yeah, I mean, this was Texas.
Okay.
I think, though, if I could chime in, one of the sad realities of our present world why these things are becoming more prevalent is because of the number of false accusations is driving men and women apart, which is certainly a problematic thing. But it's one of the reasons people are like, maybe a robot's probably the safer bet. I'm not sure I would agree with that, but it's one of the cultural things to look at.
Great point. The Me Too movement. That's a great point.
Yeah.
But some of the things, I've done some mentorship, and Tom, you can relate to this because you've done some mentorship. Toss, I think you have too. Any of us that have been parents have done mentorship to one degree or another. But one of the things is trust. And as of recently, the people that I've been involved with that have had relationship problems, it has been because they didn't really trust the other person in the relationship, and what they did was is they picked the other person's this thing up
Yeah.
and started looking through emails or big thing text messages, and boom, that's where the problem comes in.
You know, you have these online dating sites, and I guess they work, but I don't know. To me, it doesn't quite feel right. I'm not saying that they're bad or evil, Daniel, but like eHarmony and Match and all, I guess some people actually meet the love of their dreams. But
A cousin of mine got married off of that. It has never worked for. And the funny thing is, some people just need to go out in person, and that's
Right.
me. And it doesn't work for me yet. I'm not trying to be I'm not narcissistic, but I think I'm a good catch, and it doesn't translate on these sites. It just doesn't. I don't get any response.
maybe those sites are a starting point, to use a baseball, just to hit the ball. Then you go meet the person. Then maybe you get to first base. Maybe again it's a tool
Right.
as a starting point to take a shortcut, and I could see that.
Yep.
I think the one-on-one in person is probably the best way. Just the best way. You meet someone in a.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't go to bars very much anymore,
Yeah.
but it's just that's the best way in person. Be outgoing. Talk to
Right.
someone.
Yeah. Well, there's no substitute for that human interaction.
And that kind of,
I don't want to be on vacation in Florida, see a nice girl walking towards me. She says hello, and I'm talking to a vacuum cleaner. That's like a great vacation, Toss. I don't want to, but I can see that coming. I can see where well, she would be a good cleaner, but no, I could see us living in the Matrix world. The movie The Matrix, where what's reality and what's not. And who was going to regulate it?
we have to individually do that.
I guess so.
As individuals, we need to take a strong personal responsibility towards that. Is what we need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up to us who have sanity left to say, no, we're not going to buy that or do that. Steve says Japan is set to allow gene editing in human embryos.
Eek.
I don't know about that. Yeah.
One of the discussions around this center thing is, at what point in time are people going to be considered, literally cast out because they don't have the super genes in them, and it will produce and shift how our society moves. Now, from my perspective, having background and experience in these fields, I don't think it's nearly as promising as people want, because genes are not the all-ending objective as to what you will become. We thought this was what we thought when the Human Genome Project was going down the pipeline, about 20 years ago. But the reality is, we were all excited about this. We were going to get it in pools and pools, hundreds of thousands of scientists were working on it. We finally got it. Science and Nature, the two biggest scientific journals, released the Human Genome Project final conclusions. We had an entire map to the human genome. Now that we look at all this, we go, well, crap, this just doesn't do nearly what we thought it did. So, I mean, there are certainly some genetic things you can do. You are better to guide somebody's eye color than you are to guide if they're going to be a success, because environmental factors have a whole lot more to do with whether you're successful rather than what your eye color is.
Right.
And all the time and effort and energy that went into that, would it not have been more beneficial as the human race and part of the human condition are things like the common cold all the way up to cancer?
Mm-hmm.
That possibly some of this, or a great deal of this research, could have been put forth to possibly come up,
No,
maybe not with a cure, but with a better understanding of how we can reach a cure.
Well, the Human Genome Project did tell us all this, because ultimately a little bit cancer is its unregulated cellular growth. And so the Human Genome Project allowed us to see what is a normal apoptotic cell. what is the BR3? Was it BR1, BR? I forget. I didn't do breast cancer stuff. I did other cancer stuff. But I think it's BR1. The gene mutation in BR1 is what causes somebody to have a much greater instance of having breast cancer.
Yep.
There's mutations in the peroxisome proliferate activator receptors, which will increase your propensity to having diabetes. But just because you have that doesn't mean you have to get these things, because there's environmental factors that come into play. And so mapping the human genome did actually do a lot, maybe not towards the common cold, but definitely towards cancer, because cancer is ultimately a rogue cell in the body. And by identifying which genes are out of target, if you can figure out a way to target those cancer cells, then yes, gene therapy can seriously help against certain forms of cancer, and we've demonstrated that. The common cold is the most elusive thing in the history of the world, though.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know.
I know, you really. Still. Hi, Sneaky Linux. Welcome.
He snuck in.
He snuck in, yes.
I have a quick question for CJ, completely off topic. Is that a acoustic kit behind you, or is that an electric kit with acoustic cymbals?
Oh yeah, I don't play with robots.
Okay.
Play me a song.
It's an acoustic kit. It's a set of drums.
Okay.
My third set in my life.
You know the robot in Lost in Space, Danger, Will Robinson. Nowadays, danger humanity, danger humanity. That's what it should say, you know. I'm probably going to wrap this up here in about 15 minutes. If there's anybody new to this channel and and to Linux, if you want to come in and say hello, now's your chance. If you have a question, want to say hello, or didn't have an opportunity before, don't be shy, don't be scared. We really are much nicer than this. No, I'm just kidding, Do stop in the chat and say hello.
So do we contemplate whether we would be with a Linux doll or a Windows doll?
Well,
Linux all the way. I mean, I wouldn't go with some Linux. I mean, the Windows doll it's just going to collect everything about me and just tell somebody else. It's like the ultimate gossiper. I mean,
well, yeah.
And then it's gonna, if something happens, it's gonna want all of your money.
Yeah.
There you go. The Mac doll. I don't know, what would the Mac doll do?
Very little, and cost thousands and thousands.
Oh yeah, really.
Oh,
really.
the Mac doll would be like the princess that's never home. Just
Yep.
feeding money into it, but you don't get anything. Then the Linux doll is always like this is like the person with the Linux doll would be your person with chronic fatigue syndrome. You just can't get the thing to work.
But what if the Linux doll had a certain level of Linus in its personality traits?
It'd just be a wow.
Oh my god! It would be like reverse insults. Instead of me programming, the doll would just insult me back. But I'm a New Yorker, so I'd be like, "Bring it on! I need a tune-up. Go ahead and insult me. Come on, bring it on." But the Linux doll would be the one to go because it would be more open source.
No, the Linux doll, you'd say, "Hey, whatever you named your Linux doll. Hey, Martha, can you cook dinner for me tonight?" And it would tell you to go screw off.
I know. Oh God, too much love. But Linus is back, by the way. Yeah, the Mate doll. Yeah, right. Oh God. See, the Windows doll would just ask too many questions and want more information, so I'd have to shut it up, But
the Mac doll would be bohemian and artsy.
Okay.
You have to want that type.
Well, the Mac doll will have to be the most expensive, obviously.
And the only place you could take the Apple doll on a date is a coffee shop.
That's right. Happy at Starbucks.
Yep. You can only take the Apple doll on a date to a Starbucks. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Linux doll would only be happy at a Linux fest.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering, looking at turning back more serious. I've been in editorial mode on a couple books. I'm in coffee shops a little bit more often. Just get out of the main office here. And what I'm finding is, you look around and I still see the majority of computers in a Starbucks happen to be Apple. But the percentage of the population of Apple is still, not much higher than Linux. So any thoughts on that? That's a weird little.
Yeah, in LA, that's true. I see Mac everywhere in LA. That's, yeah.
Do you think it's a status thing?
It probably is, honestly.
Some of these kids going to college, I'm I'm the better student type of thing because I've got the Apple.
That's very true. You can always tell the professors' cars versus the students' cars on campus because the professors' cars are the old, ugly ones. Students' cars are the brand new ones. And it's a reality. It's hilarious outside of a few rare exceptions because the professors know the value of a dollar and the students are just used to borrowing everything they can.
Yeah.
Or in the case of two colleges not far from me, I don't have to take loans because mom and dad have enough money for this education.
Mm-hmm. I think we need robotic people in Congress who understand simple math. 2 + 2 does equals 4, and this is how we're going to balance the budget.
I like it.
See, that's right. You would eliminate bribery because they would have no concept of bribery or, lobbyists. We need to balance the budget. This is how we're going to do it. There are no ifs, ands, or buts. There you go.
Would there be red dolls and blue dolls?
Well, they would have no concept of, conservative or liberal, just simple math,
But if they're sponsored, though, by the lobbyist groups, they will have to have logos like the NASCAR drivers.
I was just going to say that.
No.
You can't buy a robot, but what happens if...
Oh, all right, okay, all right. Well, the computer chip is sponsored by Intel or so. Okay, all right, I guess I can see that, but that would be interesting.
I pulled up the browser stats as of October. So 49.2% are on Windows 10, 5.7% on Windows 8, 20.1% on Windows 7, 0.1% on Vista, 0.3% on XP, kind of hilarious. Linux has 5.6%, Mac has 10.5%, Chrome OS is 0.3%, which is actually down from January.
That seems really low, yeah.
Yeah, and then mobile is 8.3%. So, and this is actually mobile. I guess they were 7.7 at the start of the year, but they were 8.7 last month, down to 8.3. Which is
well, I just had a thought. Would these robot dolls need fast charging?
Oh, you believe it.
And how would you...
Couldn't the robot doll this be charged? My watch that I have on is one of those perpetual things that I wind it in the morning.
Okay.
But then as I move around and as I'm doing things, it's winding itself.
How would you upgrade it?
The kind where you shake.
What the Linux doll or the doll?
Yeah. Well, if it has built-in Wi-Fi, I could say send a message to Tim. Yes, dear. It just says it. I have to grab my phone or type or
See, I mean, that's it. Now, would you put your doll? Would you want your doll to be interfacing with Siri, Google, Cortana, or Bixby?
I like the name Cortana because of Halo, so maybe Cortana.
Go with Cortana. Okay.
We laugh about this, but we're all fairly young, and 40 years from now, when we're much older and maybe needed medical care and assistance, these will probably be dolls that literally...
They should make a senior citizen doll. Hey, doing this, honey, boy, you go looking, have the doll missing teeth and gum sticking out, but
these are going to be our nurses, our home care nurses in 40 years.
Yeah, really.
Well, that's essentially what they were in iRobot, right? It was home care.
Something like that, yeah. iRobot was,
Bicentennial Man as well.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that movie.
You haven't seen it?
Oh, you reminded me, though. I got to...
I got mobile stats up here. So the total is 8.229%. So of that, 6.69% is Android, so over 75%. 1.39 is iOS. 0.17 are still holding on to Windows phones. What are you guys up to? And then other is 0.04, and I don't know what that. Maybe that's the old Firefox OS, things like that.
Paul makes a good point. Robot women would be bad for the flower and diamond industries. Well, unless they're programmed to have one diamond on each finger, then you can program it to be the opposite.
That's okay. We can. A woman robot would probably come pre-programmed with asking where your wallet is every other day.
Or to impress it wouldn't be a diamond. It would be like a RAM chip. Hi, dear. Hi, Harmony. Here's your RAM chip. Ooh, here's the new hard drive. Ooh, hey, I got you something. But
they won't need to ask.
Why do they need a hard drive? What are they storing?
I don't know.
just like any other woman, every single
Every
freaking
single
thing
thing you've
that
said, it's
you've
collecting
said,
telemetry.
that
Ha
you've
yeah,
said
yeah, right,
and
yeah.
done wrong since the first
That's
moment
right.
they laid eyes on
Let
you.
me tell you, the real women, they remember. They got a good memory, you know.
They remember, but the problem is
Yeah.
they never ever forget, because there are things that they remember everything, and if this takes a
Yeah.
little bit of an urging or
Yes, right,
a
right.
word in a conversation to bring up that one thing.
Could you imagine a marriage ceremony between a man and a doll, or a woman and a doll?
Well, there was that robot. Where was that? Somewhere in the EU, where the robot was actually granted citizenship. So that wouldn't be too far off.
Oh, good God.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered today between Carm and this toaster to witness here the place of the Lord.
In case you guys didn't know, Toss eats an extraordinary amount of toast.
Sounds like it.
Oh, in the morning, yeah.
Is that what-
It's just a funnier joke. We are in marriage here between Toss and a vacuum cleaner, but
We don't want to know how that
yeah, well,
that
let me
relationship
tell you,
goes.
that story just sucks. Let me tell you.
Oh.
How about when men start abusing their dolls, like hitting them, smacking them? Will those men be jailed?
Well, we're a regressing society right now, because now we're talking about men having ownership over their women.
Well, the eyes on the doll could be actual video cameras to record everything.
Mhm.
So you wouldn't do it, because in the court of robot law. So what if the judge is a robot? I mean, oh my God.
Congress down to the judges, down to our wives. I mean, this is getting scary.
It kind of is.
That's
It kind
what
of
we're
is.
talking about.
As much as we make fun of some things, it's scary.
To a point, it's funny, but in the bigger picture, it's not funny, really, is it? And when I saw that guy buying his new set of girls on TV, oh wow! And he was talking like, "This is normal. This is what's going to happen in 20 years to everybody." No, it's not. You know.
Now, what about, okay, let's say there's a normal human couple that would like to bring a little spice into their relationship, so they buy a doll that they both agree on. I mean, now, how is that just as strange? Two humans with...
This whole topic is strange. I'm just
throwing out ideas.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I would probably wager you'd treat it like any other things that you might share as a couple. As long as there's mutual agreed upon boundaries, then probably be all right. Toss, this is a weird live stream.
Yeah, it is. That is. But that's part of tech addiction, So, and I want no part of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is as far as my addiction goes,
Yeah. Here's a thought for everybody on what steps do you take to not be tech addicted?
I talked about it before. At night, I shut off my phone. I have no TVs in my room, no technology whatsoever. Everything's off. Sometimes I'll say, Alexa, play rainstorm sound so I can fall asleep in 30 minutes. But that's as far as I go, And that's it. That's one way. Just shut off your technology when you go to bed. Shut it off. So,
boundaries, self-inflicted boundaries, and in my case, because I have a significant other, compromised and realistic, agreed upon boundaries that work for both of us. That's the only thing that's the only thing we can do.
I mean, think about it. If you guys think this stream is real with guys who are halfway sane, think about what's going on out there in the real world, how bad it is.
I like that qualifier.
I try not to think about it. Halfway sane, yeah. I mean, don't watch my show and think I'm halfway sane. I mean, I predict fire tonight. I mean,
yeah, I'm just glad someone could consider me halfway sane. That's great.
No kidding. I'm 25% better off than I was when I woke up this morning. Thanks, Toss.
Yeah. I'd say to prevent tech addiction on my end. There's a reason I don't actually come into the office at all until like 2. It's because I don't want to be surrounded by the computers all day. So I take the first half of the day, because I mean, for me, of course, every business that I have is completely centered around computers. So I'll have dedicated computers and things. I like the fact that the smartphone allows me to check and respond to any important emails well before computers are turned on. And it's just making sure that you can establish a life outside of the technology. And, if you are surrounded like computers perpetually, like I am, find a day when you can keep them off. That's an important thing.
Great idea. I plan to. What I do is I just do things like leaving my phone in the car if I go in someplace, or even maybe leave it in the car if I'm going into a friend's house. As much as I can. But I also plan to start reading more actual paper books, because I do all of my reading online nowadays, and I don't like that. Or I read a book.
I got a couple paper books myself.
Great. Reading on my iPad has actually become a replacement for, with reading digital books. And I don't like that, actually, because I think it's affecting my eyes, my sight. So I'm going to go back to, one of my plans is to go back to actual physical books, paper books.
When the first e-readers came out, I forgot what they were, like the Amazon deals, were the only thing that they did. It wasn't a tablet where you could get internet access. The Kindle. If the only thing you could do is you could browse a store, pick out the reading material that you want, the periodicals or the books, whatever the case would be, and that was the only purpose that device had. I can see where there's benefit there. There is benefit there, because not everybody has room or the ability to possibly have a huge library. Like Tom, you have that bookcase there in the background where you've got it looks like you got some stuff on it. So not have a house to be able to have say 6 of those bookcases to have every book that they want. And also I think there's isn't there kind of an economic side of that too? If you have a Kindle, but like where you can only read books on it, if you go to say Barnes and Noble, which there are very few of them left now, you go to Barnes and Noble and you buy a book, it's say $40. If you get the electronic copy, isn't that a cost advantage to the person?
Sometimes and sometimes not, honestly. I price my ebooks a lot lower than I price the print media, but for a lot of your mainstream books, the ebook oftentimes is only within $1 or $2 difference.
And also libraries, you can download digital books from libraries too now.
Libraries. There's Project Gutenberg. Now, I don't read a lot of ebooks. The ones that I do read ebooks are the ones that are, I would either have to pay for it to have a physical copy, or it's a free book because it's out of print, and on Project Gutenberg or other free archives where you can download it for free. Those are the only ebooks I'll generally read. And also, when I'm done with a book, if I like it, but I don't like it enough to keep it around perpetually, if I can get an ebook copy, I do that. But I try to make sure I'm only buying DRM free if I do.
Well, are you a scientist? You probably have to do a lot of reading, don't you?
Well, I mean, anymore, I'm a web developer these days.
Oh, because I had heard you talking about cancer.
I gave that all up about 10 years ago.
Oh.
So,
now he splits atoms in his spare time.
Yeah, that's hey, I'm still a geek at heart, but
I just had a funny thought. You could have one of the male robots voice like Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's good to be here, darling. How are you? Looking good.
Yeah. On with the ebook readers, though, because Run with the Dolphin brought this up a couple times. You can still get e-ink readers, which are just as good as your eyes as the paper are. So if you do need to do those, look for the e-ink readers, and you can still get them, although most of them are moving into these normal tablets, which aren't as good. But yeah, they are good.
Okay.
He says, plus great for folks with paper touch sensitivities. I've never heard of that before. Are there people that have sensitivities with, opening a book and
I don't know.
Paper?
I haven't, no.
Oh, there is another weird thing in the book industry coming around. They're now trying to revitalize books by changing the format. So if you take your book, instead of reading it like this, now they want to do it like this, so it's more like a tablet. So and they're smaller. So it's kind of like having a tablet, only it utilizes pages like it utilizes pages as thin as like Bible pages, so that really thin, easy stuff. And so they're experimenting with books like this format, which is kind of interesting to look more into
it's
this.
like a blueprint, looking at blueprints or something.
It's interesting. But and I'll keep you guys abreast on it as I hear about it, since I do write books, and establishing a publishing company, it's something I have to reckon with sooner or later.
See, they're coming out with the foldable smartphone. I can see the foldable girl. And then when you're done with her, pull in the suitcase and you're done.
And shove her under the bed.
Under the bed, or put her in the suitcase, and when you don't feel like talking, when you're ready to just unfold her again. Hello, honey. How was your trip? It was terrific.
I'm gonna have nightmares tonight because of you guys.
And it would still ask where my wallet and credit cards are.
Yeah, right.
The other day.
No, the credit card number will be
from underneath the bed.
Yeah.
Where's my wallet? There's something I want to buy you online.
Yeah. So instead of that commercial, what's in your wallet? What's in your robot?
Oh.
Bada boom.
Ouch.
Anyway, all right, we're gonna wrap this up here in 5 minutes, because I'm starting to get hungry. Actually, I want my dinner. So all this talk about fake stuff is making me hungry.
Well, if you had a doll, that dinner could be brought to you.
I know. I would say, hey, yo, bring me a sandwich now. Yes, dear.
Run with the Dolphin has clarified paper sensitivity. His son has a sensitivity disorder. I suppose if you can have a sensitivity disorder with certain lighting or something like that, I suppose paper, anything you can touch or smell or see, I suppose,
I have a problem. Perfume gives me a migraine.
Yeah. Steve says, "What's in your robot, Duracell?" Anyway,
kind of like that old Duracell commercial. Remember, where it's like the people and they have batteries in the back, and somebody replaced Aunt whoever's battery with a cheap one, so she died after the bit.
What kind of batteries would they have?
Hopefully not lithium ion, man. Those things will explode.
I don't know. I mean, how often do you have to charge him or her up? Can't believe we're talking like this, but that was the topic: tech addiction. Robots are part of that addiction.
I can imagine that becoming a source of major addiction.
Yes, and for some people, it already has. So,
I don't see the transition being psychologically good.
No.
I mean, it could be in the future, but the transition, I think there's going to be some problems.
No.
I just think that just having a cell phone, even if we don't have all the computers around us or the augmented technology or the AI or this or that or anything else, just having a cell phone is allowing us to separate ourselves from the world in which we live.
Right.
When robots become, when AI becomes more prevalent, and then you get a piece of equipment that walks around and talks to you, that this gives us all the more ability, and in some cases, dare I say, reason to separate ourselves, which is really disappointing.
So now, when you think back to the 70s and 80s, when we just had, you had to be by your phone. It was plugged in the wall, and you had to be by it.
Yep.
Are we better off?
It's both. It's good and bad.
Yeah.
It's good and bad. Your car breaks down, you got an emergency, you make the phone call. If you text and drive, then it's bad. So,
Right.
Back in the 70s and 80s, when our phones were plugged into our walls, there was if we had a call that we wanted to make, or we were expecting a call, we had to actually put some time and effort into organizing our life, scheduling our time, adjusting our priorities, making sure that we're on top of our game when we need to be, and understanding when we can cut that boundary, that physical boundary, and get the heck away from it.
Mm-hmm.
Cell phones don't allow us to, unless, like you had said, CJ, when you go into a store, you consciously say, you know what, I don't need my cell phone. I'm just going in to buy a loaf of bread, or I'm going to go buy a new pair of shoes or something like that. We are the ones that have to create that boundary now, but we don't do it. I'm the first to tell you I don't do it. back in the 70s or 80s, if one of my buddies was going to call me and say, hey, let's go fishing, I made sure I stuck around to get the call from, from Bobby. Hey, let's go fishing. Okay, great. See you in an hour.
Yeah. But do you guys remember when you would just stop by a friend's house without calling and texting first?
I think the last people I saw do that, Tom, was probably my grandparents. And I think my parents did that too. But big thing was my grandparents, and they were born around the start of World War One. God bless them, they're no longer with us, but they used to do that all the time. They'd go out on a ride on Sunday afternoon, and they always knew that their neighbors were going to be around on Sunday afternoons because with the family that I lived in, the neighbors got up like us, went to church, and then everybody went home and had Sunday dinner with their family. And the nice thing was we could jump in the car and we could unannounced stop over at a neighbor's house, and they didn't care. They were happy to see us.
Yeah.
One of the things one of my pet peeves is the overzealous complaining people do about technology in public. Like, let's say, I'm on the phone in a grocery store, and I personally make it a point to whisper, to downright talk quietly. I do that. I mean, I was just at a doctor's office a couple hours ago, and my mom called me. I will not go without taking that call. And I whispered. I was literally whispering. But you could see someone give me a look. So the point is, people are contradictory because they can talk to the person next to them, but, so we blame people for even just talking on the phone when we're not telling the person to just be quiet. That's all. So one of my biggest pet peeves is that we're complaining a lot about unnecessary things. And, I could be walking crossing a street with a phone in my ear, and I hear someone yelling, "Put the phone down and cross the street." I mean, that's ridiculous. I understand. Don't put the phone to your ear in the car, whether you can do it or not while you're driving. But I understand that. But we're going a little too far with these complaints nowadays.
I think some of it, though, is because people are so addicted. There's a lot of people that just can't go do anything without it. Like, what I'm noticing lately is a major uptick in the number of people that can't go to the grocery store without listening to headphones. And the problem is that they almost run into you. They're not conscious of their surroundings. They're not knowing what's around them. If you're engaging in an actual conversation with somebody next to you, you're a little bit more conscious of your surroundings. I'm not completely against somebody having a call and making it, but there is a social awareness, making sure that you're not being excessively loud on the one hand, but on the other hand, can you go a little bit of time without it? Can you say, hey, I'm kind of in a place where I can't really take a call and talk a lot. Can I call you back in 10 minutes or things like that? So I think a lot of it, because people have probably, you're right, people are probably overreacting, but I think they're overreacting because it has become so prevalent to see bad social manners because we are isolating ourselves from society with a personal device where we have the ability to say, let me call you back in 5 minutes.
That's
when
true.
I'm not.
And that's true. And then even the people like I feel like I am, that actually makes it a point to not be rude, still gets, complained to over it. That's the part I don't like. I mean, if I'm really making an effort,
I think each one of us has to realize where is that threshold you do not cross with technology, right? Where is that stop sign where, okay, I'm not going to go farther than that. I'm going to turn around.
Isn't there an argument too with what I would call excessive multitasking, and having to do that because we just simply don't prioritize or put any order in our lives?
Yeah.
The way that I see it is, CJ or Tom, you said, seeing somebody in the grocery store with their cell phone and then a set of headphones on. Mm-hmm. Why not take time to do this one thing at a time and do it out of enjoyment? Going to the grocery store and having to pick out, say, food for the next 3 days, which it tends to be the way that my wife and I shop. Okay. We only shop 2 or 3 days at a time. And when I see people in the grocery store, it's kind of like, God, you know what? You're grocery shopping. Yeah, maybe it's a mundane task. Maybe it's not the best. But if you're listening to that music that you so much enjoy, or that audio book that you really want to get the guts out of, or maybe it's a podcast that you're interested in. Why the hell don't you just take a half hour or an hour out of your day and sit down and do it out of an enjoyment instead out of necessity to kill the boredom of another task, and then maybe you have another task on top of that you have on your mind.
I think we've become desensitized.
That's a good point. You know, like say, I have this thing where my brother, I don't talk to him. I don't get to talk to him like 2 or 3 times a year, right? And sometimes he'll call, and I'm keeping that call on. And whatever I have to do, I'm staying on that call because I can't talk to him any other time.
Yeah.
So if I, then I will bring that phone into the grocery store because I have to. I have to go to the grocery store, and I have to stay on the phone with my brother. There's no two ways about it. And that's where, and I will extend courtesy by being quiet and multitasking, putting the phone down at the cashier, saying, "Hey, I got to hold on a second," and making the transaction. Right. And but sometimes you just have to. There's no choice.
Understandable.
True. And like somebody had said in the chat earlier, if you're doing caregiving and stuff like that, there's a necessity. I get that. There's a necessity sometimes where you just have to. Maybe the boundary that you try to have in place every single day of your life, there's that 1 out of 20 or 1 out of 30 or maybe 1 out of 100 instance where the necessity outweighs the boundary and the reasons for the boundary, and you just have to do it. The thing is,
a judgment call, yeah.
Yeah, and that has to be a personal judgment call in and of ourselves, but to consistently do it. I was in line here the other day, and there was a woman in front of me at the checkout counter at the grocery store, and she was carrying on a conversation on her telephone. Well, this very pleasant, very nice, very pleasant young high school age gal was trying to carry on a conversation with her as she was probably trained to do in her position, greet customers, be pleasant, make them feel at home, thank them for their business, things like that. She's trying to do that to this woman who was on the telephone, who could really not give a rat's ass between here and the moon whether or not she heard any word out of this clerk's mouth.
Yeah.
And when I got up behind this woman, I said, I'm going to do everything that I can to listen to every single word that comes out of you because I believe that you mean them. And she looked at me like, oh my goodness, a breath of fresh air.
There you go.
I think about the cell phones, the best thing we can do is turn off every single notification that is not important. So like Tim, you keep off your text notifications. I don't do that because I still interface with a lot of young people, and texting is the reality what they do.
But that's a necessity, right?
Yeah,
that's a necessity.
So I keep that on, and I keep the phone call on. That is it. Anything else, I don't allow any other notifications to go, because that's one of the things. Like, I do carry the phone with me if I leave the house, if it's always with me. But what you'll notice is that I'm not a compulsive, constantly picking up the phone every minute like most people are, because only going to be a text message or a phone call, and I can hear that.
Yep.
And so I am trained myself to not touch the phone at all unless I need to, which might mean if I'm in a long line, I'll pick it up and check my email manually.
We are trying to keep hold on to our residue of humanity, it seems.
That's a great point. I don't do any notifications either. Sports scores are probably one of the only things I get. I want notified live. Sports scores. I don't even check emails on phones.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to wrap this up here last minute. I need to go have an intimate conversation with my oven because I'm starting to get hungry. So.
Yeah. In that oven, is the oven going to be? Is the toaster going to be jealous of the oven?
The toaster might say, "Hey, don't forget me." Yeah, right.
Toss has that covered. He has a toaster
oven.
Toaster oven. Ha. Yeah. Yes. I use psychology. I'm smart.
Hey, I want to know though, is she hot?
Oh, okay. You got to give.
Good one. Oh, that's one for CJ. Yes. Normally I'm good with that, but that's one for CJ. Yeah.
I think I'll just go talk to the refrigerator because I keep it cool.
Yeah, keep it cool. Bada bing, bada boom. Yeah, it's good to stay cool. Yeah.
I, on the other hand, have a beautiful wife who is upstairs and has a crock pot full of beef stew.
Hi,
I'm gonna go-
Tawny. Everybody say hello to Tawny.
I'm going to go upstairs and I'm going to see how that is progressing. And I'm
There
going
you
to
go.
sit down and I think we may try to find something on TV to watch
Right.
while we're waiting for dinner to get done.
Very good. By the way, no show time. I'm going to detoxify for tonight. No show.
All right,
Normally
sounds
do
good.
so maybe sometime this weekend. Yeah.
I will be on.
Oh, we lost Tom.
We keep losing you, Tom. Yeah.
Oh,
There you go.
okay. Will be on at 9:00 today,
Mm-hmm.
like usual for the news.
Okay.
Okay.
The smart supply Steve has is an instant pot. Okay.
Paul,
Maybe that's all you need.
Paul, do you do a live? Live?
Oh yeah, I do. I do live Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Oh, if you could put your link to. Well, is it your actually? Let me follow you on YouTube.
Yeah, on YouTube. Yep.
Okay. All right.
Man,
I do a
now that
patron stream on Thursday.
Now that I said beef stew, I can smell it.
That sounds great.
Ooh.
I am starting to.
Well,
it's
I
one
got
of those,
pork chops upstairs. I'm gonna.
It's one of those deals, CJ. You undoubtedly understand Midwest weather with Chicago and whatnot. But we got the first snowstorm today, so sitting here in a pair of sweatpants, beef stew for dinner,
There you go.
good deal.
I'm going to be doing buffalo chicken wraps. Is what I'm going to be doing.
Yummy.
And you know what? I think we're going to watch a Laurel and Hardy movie tonight.
I'm a single guy, so it's frozen pizza for me.
Ooh.
I don't know if the weather is not too crappy. I might head out to Applebee's and talk to a few toasters and vacuum cleaners that walk in. And those are the
There
real
you go.
people. Bada bing bing.
Don't talk to the vacuum cleaners. They suck.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Awesome.
Applebee's has the best appetizers. I love Applebee's.
Yeah, I'll usually go for the half price, like after 9. Half price hot wings or whatever. And I'll talk to some people there if I recognize anybody. And if I don't, then I leave. I eat my food and I leave. I'm not a drinker, so I can't sit there and just gulp beer after. That's not me. So, all right, guys, thank you everybody here who joined in. Tom,
Thank you.
CJ, Tim,
CJ,
as
it was a
always.
pleasure getting to know you.
Yeah,
Always nice
Pleasure.
to talk to you guys, Tim, Paul.
good having you on. Yeah. So,
right.
again, nothing for tonight. Go to Switch to Linux tonight, so you won't have to compete between me and Switch some nights,
Yeah.
Friday nights back. But see,
We
that's like a
tried
double
staggering.
feature. It's a double
Yeah,
feature.
it
Yeah.
is because
Yeah,
you
it's like
usually
2 for the
come
price
on
of
and
none. Yeah, right. Yeah. So,
but yeah, we'll
All
be
right.
doing.
All
We're talking
right.
like light news week because of the elections. Really nice,
Yeah,
really light
that's
news
still
week,
going
and I
on.
am
There's like-
intentionally not talking politics tonight.
yeah, really. I think there's 3 or 4 states are still counting. Boy,
Yeah.
that'll go on till next year.
Yeah, that's fine.
See, that's
but,
where you do need robots because robots cannot lie. They just count what they see. You know what I mean? There's no.
Well, except for the robots that have been putting it as election machines have been flipping the votes.
Well, that's a different topic altogether. Yes. Yeah, we'll just call the robot Chad.
Soon we'll be on Mars and we'll just have robots on Earth.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, on that note, I'll
Gentlemen.
catch you guys later.
All right, take care, guys.
Take care, everybody.
Later.
All right. Ciao. Bye bye.
Later.